So,
Okay, you wanted to start on down the list, and I mean, unless you got opening statements or whatever. Okay. All right.
Move to adopt the agenda.
All right.
call the question.
All right. I think we heard enough from not only our group but other outsiders that the unity that was promised with those bylaws did not come about. And I think most people knew that it wouldn't, but normally it's kind of like any other problem or issue. First, you got to acknowledge that there is a problem. It's kind of like an alcoholic. First thing he's got to do is admit
get
he's
the
not.
ground rules set.
Yeah, and so that's all. These are some notes I threw together in conjunction with Dr. Wally, and just saying that first of all, we have to acknowledge that our party is split right now. I mean, and it was caused by this. Now, the other group would probably say, well, it was split before, but it was only marginally. It was only a handful that.
I agree.
We weren't
the split
fractured
before
apart.
was not as.
I mean, in my opinion, right now, it's. In fact, my final comment on the last page is, the MCRP has two organizations running on parallel tracks, both trying to have the same outcome of electing good Republicans in 2020. However, we cannot continue calling meetings, setting agendas, or disrupting, called CEC meetings, and it goes on and on and on. So that's how do we get back to just one person calling the shots and one, organizing the meeting? Because you've already seen what Reagan has done. He's already set meetings for the next 12 months. Now, whether he knew that we were getting together and that was a preemptive strike, but see, that's the whole thing that I have difficulty with is that's not his job.
That was done at a meeting that the chairman should have been seated as the chairman of.
Right. Well, I think that was probably done at a CEC. I mean,
The
steering committee.
the last CEC meeting,
Now,
we proposed it
But
as
would you be
an
surprised?
amendment.
Would you be surprised he's never received an invite to a steering committee?
That's not what we've been told.
Yeah, I mean, I know we all have conflicting stories.
Oh, yeah.
But here's a perfect example. Who are you going to believe?
Yeah.
Are you going to say that Dr. Wally is lying about receiving notice and purposely didn't show up? I don't think so. And I don't think 99% of the people in this county would go along with that statement.
So would you be at the next steering committee meeting?
Unfortunately, I have a meeting in Austin on Tuesday, and I'm going to be out of
that's
town.
the CEC meeting.
I did get an email from Reagan Reed the first time that I got a notice, and I emailed him back and told him, unfortunately, I was going to be out of town, and I won't be able to be there.
That's for this Tuesday.
That happens,
But you've
but-
never been invited to a CEC meeting. To a steering
I've
committee.
never gotten an email notifying me of a meeting.
Well, I know the steering committee ones, at least publicly announced, is kind of last minute. What I'd like to do now, I'm going to spitball here.
Sure.
What I'd like to do is see all of us say, you know what, we currently have a set of bylaws. We know they're not perfect. Even the old bylaws weren't perfect. So no matter what, changes are going to need to be made.
Right.
But
Agreed.
if we can all just sit down and say, look, we'll just accept the current bylaws and we'll change them as needed. Now, what I would like to see is all meetings have some advance notice. I know, like myself, I'm self-employed. I have two companies to run, plus I do taxes. So unless it's the latter part of the year, I work 14, 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
So to get off, it's a nightmare, and I have to find a warm body to take my spot. And there's only 6 of us in my office, and my staffing requires not.
Is there not a requirement
doesn't happen.
for all CEC meetings to have, what is it, it's at least 7, if not 14 days?
It was 7, and it got changed to 14 in the proposed
So with
bylaw.
2 weeks, is that enough time for you?
2 weeks, anybody should be able to work a schedule on 2 weeks. I think that's very, very adequate notice.
Okay.
And I think we all can agree at the end of the day that common sense and logic dictate that the chairman should be presiding over the CEC meetings
And the steering committee.
and the steering committee.
And he should have the right to call both of those.
Yes.
Not
Now,
the vice
that's a
chair.
point you talked about amending.
Yes.
That is a current
Yes.
amendment
I
being
propose
proposed.
that for this next
that the
CEC
county,
we will be voting on. But I need the bodies
County
to be there to
chairman
vote.
has the authority to call an executive committee meeting on his own, provided you give a 14-day notice.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So that's,
Okay.
I think that was an oversight in the
I'm not
2018 bylaws. I don't think it was deliberate. It may have been, I don't know.
Well, I don't
But
know either.
But I'm going to
I
give
only
the
go
benefit of
back-
the doubt that
I only go back when John Worth and Reagan Reed, before the June meeting, came down to the headquarters and showed me the set of bylaws that they passed. And my first reaction was, well, why do we need to do that? Let's amend the present bylaws without having to throw out the whole deal. And
well, I think this is one of the points of misunderstanding between two sides, is that
Well,
the
it could be.
present bylaws expired.
well,
At the end of
you
June.
never-
But see, there is nowhere, there
No.
is no document in the state, nor in our bylaws, or anywhere in Robert's rules that says bylaws expired, unless they specifically state in the bylaws that they expired. So that's another misconception that has taken everybody off the track. They don't expire.
I'm a firm believer in getting back to some fundamental understanding.
Right, right,
And
right.
that's one area
I don't
that
care
definitely
which set of
needs to be
bylaws
totally
you use
settled. And
for.
I thought it was by the
Use the old ones,
64 to nothing
use
vote
the
of
new
the...
ones, but they need to be changed.
All right.
Yeah, because there are plenty of holes that it is.
Okay, we're back to a fundamental point here that Charlie
That's it.
wants to correct me on.
That's a great point. This is
Yes.
the exact language that was voted on. The exact, and it came from the SREC treasurer's minutes.
So with respect, this is moved by SD 11, moved to ratify Chairman Dickey's clarification of the RPT Rule 8E. Quote, so with respect to a county executive committee, an organizational meeting is the first CEC meeting each biennium.
No argument there. Okay.
So there's no prior,
Go ahead.
you got to set up new bylaws, called in accordance with rule.
You're reading in stuff in
Okay.
there that's not in
Okay,
there.
let me read
This
the
is
words and then we'll
This is the exact language.
dispute. Yes, I agree. I'll get back the exact language. Called in accordance with Rule 8E, at which bylaws are adopted,
There you go.
not amended, adopted. At which members, which are precinct chairs and the county chair, are sworn in and placed on the membership roll. Why do you have to adopt rules at the first meeting of a biennium if there already are existing, continuing, no need to amend bylaws?
Okay. Now, the rationale behind that is in the very next paragraph, 8F in the state party rules, say that if no bylaws are adopted, the existing bylaws remain in place.
Okay, I don't have that in front of me, but I'll take your word for it.
That's it.
Yeah, and so that's the reason they use the word adopted, meaning adopted, but like Dr. Wally says, any bylaws
Oh,
can
that's
be
your
amended.
drink. Sorry.
That's I hope you enjoyed my
I thought that water tasted better
It's
than
like,
mine
that's
did
weird.
before.
That is weird.
And so people have taken that vote and said, well, that, you know, the SREC voted with the majority rule on bylaws. There was no language in there about the majority vote. There was so much.
What happened at that meeting,
At what meeting?
at the June meeting?
Well, and
Were
that's
bylaws adopted?
yes.
Not by a 2/3 vote.
But
Find yourself, if you would.
in light of, and this is where the whole argument gets relitigated, because we were told, and this was bad advice from both the state party, our own parliamentarian
Definitely seen that.
said it, because I asked the question, is this majority or 2/3 vote? And he had asked the state party, and they had said majority vote.
Oh, it's doing it.
The problem is, there is nothing in the state party rules.
It doesn't like
There
it.
is
Here's what
nothing in Robert's rules that says by majority vote, except when you're bringing a new society into being.
Okay, so the parliamentarian and the state party are wrong.
That is correct. And that has,
Mark Frank.
there's been,
I think we can get over that hurdle though by saying whichever set of bylaws we want to amend, they need to be amended. In other words, the bylaws that you're
Okay.
talking about, we agree that they need to be amended.
Agreed?
Yeah, and
now,
that's fine. I'm not opposed to that.
and I think this is one way to get over that hurdle, is say, okay, we will acknowledge that those are the current bylaws if you will accept these amendments to those.
Sort of like the original Constitutional Convention.
Exactly right. Exactly
Here's the
right.
Constitution, and we'll accept it if we put in these
And
Well,
Bill of Rights.
And see,
When they came in and presented those bylaws to me, and they were proud to say they're patterned after Travis County.
Well, I don't care who they're
Well, that's what they say.
patterned after. Are they good for us?
Well, they're not.
well, no, but
That's a matter of
that's an
legitimate dispute.
well, no, that's an excellent point and an excellent statement. Are they good or are they better for us? I would say we're a lot worse off as a party since those were passed, and we got into this discussion about why they were
But is
passed.
that due to the nature of the bylaws?
Yes.
Or to divisions that were there that have been magnified?
Nature of the bylaws, because what happened to all of the power that belongs to the county chairman that has been in existence for 50 plus years?
That's not what Chairman Dickey said. There are 22 obligations of the county chair that none have been infringed upon by
Yeah,
these
he's
new
talking
bylaws.
about
No.
he's talking about
Two different
the rules
subjects.
that have to do with the primary and all that.
He's talking about statutory duties.
Right, statutory duty.
That is correct. I am
Statutory
talking
duties.
about what is in the chairman's handbook,
Okay.
by the state party's chairman handbook.
Okay.
I'm going to do a brief interruption.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Wally said it just right. No matter which rules we go by, there needs to be amendments.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And just like he said, I don't care if it's even the new ones, but things have to change.
And I
So I think what we're doing is we are trying to have a discussion based upon opinion.
Sure.
One side feels it's better one way, one side feels it's better the other way, but ultimately there's not enough facts behind that to say one's really better than the other, but I think we can all agree that neither one was the best. It can get better
We
from
can
what it was.
sidetrack all of this disagreement by saying whichever set of bylaws we want to amend, those we need to amend them so that at least 2/3 of the people are in favor of the amendment. And if we do that, we can sidetrack all of the
The
disagreement.
amendments currently on the table to be suggested would require a 2/3 vote.
Oh,
I totally
absolutely.
agree.
No question.
And they state that the chairman will be given the authority to call the executive county meeting, given a normal 14-day notice, which I don't know why that was not in the original.
Yeah.
But I'll agree it's a mistake.
Well,
Yeah.
That here we are would be
have an
corrected,
opinion
and by the next meeting of the county executive committee, 2/3 of the people present and
Yeah.
voting can correct that.
right.
So
But are they going to
then if they
or will
accept the current
will they-
bylaws, well, that's going to be up to the people.
Yeah.
I mean, I can have my opinion, he can have his opinion, and
I don't
we all
want an
have
opinion,
opinions,
I want
but
my
it's,
voters' opinion.
it's what, and it's what the
Well, you can
vote
see
of the precinct
what
chairs.
these people are talking about.
Yeah.
They're upset or concerned.
Okay, so
And that's been the feedback that I've got.
Well, I wish they'd been around because I had a little sermon on being involved with your
Well,
precinct chair.
I agree. That's why I asked him if he knew who his precinct
Yes,
was.
yes, very good question.
So in your handout, though, I have then taken those three proposed amendments,
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3, and then offered to strike the steering committee out of number 1. In the proposed bylaws, I changed item number 1, last sentence, delete the portion of the last sentence, the steering committee. See, once again, I think that's the job of the county chairman. It's not the job of the steering committee. It's not the job of the vice chair or anybody else.
Excuse me, we've always had, it wasn't called a steering committee, it was called advisory committee.
I was on it.
So the wording is, I have no problem with the steering committee.
Right.
Okay,
But
then
no-
why strike it?
Because you're giving them the authority to call the CEC meeting.
The primary authority is with the chairman.
But
If for some reason he can't or doesn't, and there's a
Well, he's-
need, the steering
But
committee
that's
should
where
be.
the statutory requirement comes in. He has to have a minimum of 1/4, and
Right.
he's always done that. So
Yeah.
why usurp that authority back away from him and giving it to somebody else? Now, if he doesn't do it, then you have a legitimate case against the county chairman not doing his job.
But if it falls back to an advisory committee, of which I was a member, and of which no meetings were ever called.
Well, we never had a need for them because we, you know,
But see, now
there's a backup to have that.
Yes, and there should be a backup.
Yeah,
We should
absolutely.
always be prepared.
But right now, the way it is, and Reagan sent out an email last week, is he's already called meetings for the next 12 months.
Well, the best news is that can even be changed. Everything can always be changed.
Okay, all right.
Everything
But that's
can
the
be
reason to strike it, because it's coming from him as the vice chairman, not
Yeah.
coming
But it
from
has to
And
be
that's why
approved
with the
by the county
rewording-
executive committee.
Well, it certainly didn't.
No,
come out.
this change.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
new
that
bylaw.
changed. Okay,
And
so
the good thing is
that'll be up
with
to the
it,
opinion.
It gives the authority for not just one person other than Wally by himself, because he would have supreme authority to do so. But then if the board felt as well, maybe if Wally said, you know, I don't think this, maybe door knocking. If he says, I don't think door knocking's worth it.
right.
We can get the board together and say, hold on now, do we believe as a group that door knocking is or is not worth it? They can decide as a group
Sure.
at that point, so it's nice to have that.
Well, no,
And I'm happy to keep rewording things
and
to
I'm
make
not,
it
and
beneficial.
I'm not against striking the steering committee. I'm
Yeah.
striking. I'm striking
wording
strictly
with it.
that the steering committee or the vice chair can call the CEC meeting.
Or petition of precinct chairs.
Or yeah, no, I mean that caveat's always been under the 20%. I'm good with that anytime. If you have 20% of your precinct chairs
That want something,
that's
yeah.
upset, call a meeting and let's hash it out.
That's
Yeah.
in the old bylaw.
That's always been in there, so that's okay. And then in item number 2, once again, strike the vice chair because it will be able to call the steering committee. Why is the vice chair calling the steering committee?
That's the one. 3 members. Oh, see, I don't have my original
Here,
proposal.
I've
Do you
got
have
a
my
copy.
amendment?
I have a
know.
copy.
Oh, and here.
Oh, no, I've got this.
Oh, okay.
I need the copy of my actual proposal.
Oh, yeah.
For the
I
change.
believe that's it.
Because I think that it was addressed when we striked it, yes, because what we did is we removed the word vice chair and replaced it with county chair instead.
Oh,
So the
and-
county
and
chair
this one that
or
went out?
steering committee could. And that way they can work tandem, hand in hand. Thank you. That gives them the ability, but it yet gives Wally the authority to do what he needs to do, because sometimes we don't need to pass everything through a steering committee first.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
let's just be
I mean, then
legit.
how do you resolve this issue where he says we're going to have quarterly meetings and then the vice chair says, no, we're going to have monthly?
It can still be voted on. And that's when the whole board would need to get together. Everybody could plead their case and decide as a functional group. And if it's too close to call, I hate the tiebreaker guy, but I'm being serious. I mean,
No,
if,
no,
it's,
I know.
if
There's
it's
a
that
purpose.
close to call, that's when we say, you know what, this is something we should definitely just straight take to the CEC and have everybody decide, because we're too close to decide for ourselves. Because if it's one vote that's a tipping point,
Right.
that's too close. I
Well,
want everybody's in.
But I think you'll acknowledge that the steering committee right now is so heavily weighted.
It's supreme authority. It is. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I would
It is.
say it is stepping in where the chairman should have been there in my mind. Now, if you're saying you were never invited, I'll
Yeah.
accept your word on that. But as a member of the steering committee, I invite you to be the chairman of all
At all times.
future
Yeah.
steering
All right,
committee
so,
meetings.
So anyway,
Okay?
I'd like to strike the vice chair from that one. And
Okay.
then in number 3, your number 3 was very well stated as far as statutory duties. You acknowledge that it doesn't conflict, but I would like number 3 to go further and just take not only these 4, but take this one. But that's straight out of the chairman's the SREC chairman's handbook.
Yes.
List those duties. I mean, and there should be no question if the state party says this is the way
That's
the
acceptable.
chairman, and so I would like number 3 to be modified to include not only these 4, but I mean the rest of these, so that there's no doubt. Or you can just, if you just want to reference page 9 of the SREC state chairman's
Yeah.
handbook duties, will are hereby acknowledged or whatever, and then there's no issue on who has the real authority, because yes, we all agree he has statutory duties, And then somebody say, well, but the handbook is not statutory. We understand that, but that was made for the whole state. And if it's good for the whole state and by the, by the state party, it should be good for us.
Yeah.
Good for us. Okay.
Well, mostly.
Oh, well, okay. Well, there'll always,
I think Montgomery County is
there'll
unique.
always be that caveat.
I would have to raise one point here, appointing officers and committees as needed. Does that include the membership of the committees? Right now, I believe, under the old bylaws, you appointed 40%.
Yeah. He's not.
And often appointed me, and I appreciate every single appointment.
But see, now, right now, all of that's been taken completely away from him. In the new bylaws, it's the steering committee
I have
that
no
does all that.
appointed powers at all.
Well, how about this? Instead of
That's
doing
true.
appointments, let's do it the right way, because the steering committee functions as a board of directors.
Yeah.
The county chair functions as a CEO.
Correct.
So let's just do it the old-fashioned way. If you want an appointment, loosely used, you're going to apply for this job.
Yeah,
You're going to give everybody in that room your resume. Give us your tax returns too. No, I'm kidding. But I think it should be legitimately a job function.
That's fine.
And let's decide. If Wally says these are the guys I really like, that I really want, that should weigh a lot in everybody's mind. He has 50 years of experience.
Yeah, he knows these people better than probably any other single person.
And to me, the committee makeup is not nearly as important as the committee chairman. Because, see, even at the state party, Chairman Dickey appoints every chairman of those committees.
Yeah.
That, once again, has been taken totally out of his hands. And I think he has a right, after having won a countywide election, to name his own committee chairman. Now, the committee makeup, I think even Dr. Wally would acknowledge.
He's like, do what you want.
Yeah, no, well, let the steering committee do the makeup, but let me make those appointments. I earned that duty as being elected the same way that Chairman Dickey, as the chairman of the state Republican Party of Texas, earned that right by him winning the statewide election as chairman. He has the right and the duty to surround the people that he trusts, he knows, as the committee chairman. So my vote would be to put in that he can announce the committee chairman, the steering committee, then can do the makeup. And to me, that's a reasonable compromise.
If we did that, I would like to see at least a caveat where no matter what, even if he does appoint, we're still going to go business first. Everyone's going to do their interview, and as a group, the CEC will say, we like this one the best, and if Wally does appoint otherwise,
Chairman or members?
the chairman of the members. The committee members themselves, I think anybody willing to work, put them to work. I don't want to fight with
I have
that.
no problem with that. We had the 60-40 split. But
Yeah,
if that's a problem.
I never had a problem with that. I thought that was
yeah.
a very equitable arrangement, and because you have some insights that a lot of new people don't have as to who works and actually will do something for the committee.
My position is if the chairman has restored opportunity to appoint the chairman with the approval of the executive committee. And if the executive committee doesn't approve of it, then the chairman will...
Then we'll find someone else. Yeah, I like that.
But see,
That's a
right
good
now,
compromise.
that the steering committee has taken over that role, and I really don't think that's their place. Not for the chairmen. For the committees, like, oh, absolutely. Not for the chairman.
Dr. Wally, because it was your idea, if the CEC was to say, we don't like that guy after all, there has to be some kind of percentage that we have to use to equate that. 50%, half the body, 2/3 of the body have to say no. A number, or that can be something we talk about later. I'm not real familiar.
I'm always good with 2/3.
To veto choice of the chairman.
That's kind of the threshold that the bylaws are all based on. So.
But once again, we keep coming to the fact that if it needs 2/3 of the body, unless it's just 2/3 of what's there, and then.
Well, unfortunately, more and more rules written nowadays are 2/3 of those present and voting.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, how are y'all on
I don't like it, but I understand it, because if not, you're going to have mail-out ballots and everything. And I could go with that. I mean, I think that's a reasonable compromise.
I know there's people want to be
veto
there.
the chairman's choice. 2/3 is reasonable to me.
Okay.
I have no problem with it.
And so I'm assuming we do not want to relitigate the majority rule versus the 2/3 rule on the bylaws.
Not today.
But
We will agree to disagree.
well, we can insofar as Reagan Reed, somebody's got to put a muzzle on him because he misquotes
Well, it's
stuff.
not nice to say that. You got to still be nice.
Okay, I'll say it. He lies, and
Okay,
I
so-
called no,
Honesty.
and I sent him the exact language where there is no majority rule in this language or in state party rules, and he would not retract his email. Now, I'm sorry, but when you put it in black and white that the state party voted for the majority rule, sorry. Here's the language. They did not vote for the majority rule. So what do you, I mean, I don't know what you call that. That's not a misrepresentation. I mean, you know, put whatever way,
Well,
put the lipstick on the pig whatever way you want to.
Reagan has taken.
But you know, see, those are the things that I really have severe heartburn on is when I have the language of what the vote is, and then it's
Misstated or misrepresented.
yeah,
at any point.
to solidify their case that, oh, what we did back in June was correct with the majority rule. And decided, I don't want to relitigate that because
No,
I
we
think
don't want to.
we can get past that by acknowledging we'll accept those bylaws with these amendments and we'll go on
I
there.
think that would be a very helpful step,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Absolutely.
help
I'm
us
willing-
move forward
I'm willing to
and with
do that,
amendments and changes as we need them.
Provided we're going to amend the bylaw.
Yes, and you have my word in that.
Okay.
Well, we're
Well,
definitely going to
that's
sit down
already in
and work.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would like to see now, one of the things that I posted, and I'm trying to be careful because I know there's certain regulations we still have to follow. So I was trying to put just one big mass meeting, the public, precinct chairs, whoever decided to show up, and let's actually talk about the bylaws and what people would want to see in it.
I tried to recommend we have a committee.
Because a lot of people said no one asked me about it,
But
and that was the biggest
you remember
fight.
the meeting when he said, I propose we have 3 people from your side, 3 people from my side, sit
Yeah.
down and work this? We could have done this 6 months ago.
Well, that was in opposition to accepting the new bylaws, and
I think now's a
that was
better
not
time to do
best-
that.
That was a better
Yeah,
time.
I
for
agree.
it.
I think cooler heads have finally prevailed, and we're down to, at least we're talking in a respectful. Okay, I will let you read number 4 out loud and tell me what you think.
We don't know.
Is that
On this one.
maintaining minutes? Is that the one you're referring to?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Behavior,
Sorry. There was 2 4s.
Okay.
Apologize to Dr. Wally for the behavior of all the CEC members who orchestrated the shout down at the last 2 CEC meetings.
that would just create
He
more.
duly called and promised to disagree in a quiet, respectful manner, make your point, and then sit down. Well,
I don't,
Dr. Wally
It
thinks
was
that's just going to
disres-
throw
well,
gasoline on
you
the
see the
fire.
reaction they had to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think it was a misunderstanding
I
of
don't
what
need
happened.
in all due respect, Charlie, I don't need an apology if we will do the right thing in doing the bylaw amendments and getting the party back together.
Because I think if anything,
The doctor
we should
has
all be
spoken.
apologizing
Well,
for
No, hey,
because we made a scene of it and our voters deserve better. So if anything, we all should be
Oh,
apologizing.
it was a
to
big
them.
reaction to it.
okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a very unfortunate.
Yeah, well,
Situation.
I don't blame anyone.
The bystander got shot on the drive-by.
Yeah, exactly.
So you two have a big job.
So who
That's
if
what
you
I
don't-
came for.
If you don't mind, who
You're up
I mean,
to it, I
is
bet.
this going to get orchestrated by Tuesday? Your changes to your changes to these
I do have some time between clients. I could start knocking it out. It's a lot. I'm not going to guarantee Tuesday.
well, but see,
I
it's
don't try to overstretch
but it's
myself.
already going to be voted on. See, that's
But no matter what, we can't hit that 21-day rule anyways for the bylaw change. No matter what,
oh
we
no,
can propose
it's
it.
already there.
Yeah, it's too late.
This is coming up on Tuesday.
I would
These
like to
items.
see this be addressed no later than
Have
probably
they been
Friday.
approved by the Rules Committee?
Well,
As I
I'm
understand it,
afraid
it
I'm
has to
gonna be
go
out of
through the
town.
Rules Committee first.
But
The
we
last
can always
email
get it
said it
typed
was
up
gonna
and
go-
ready to
it
go,
was-
shot out to everybody by like Friday, so we can all start reading over it and saying, yeah, this is good wording or bad wording, and let everybody have a say in it this go round.
Is it this Tuesday or the following
No, it's
Tuesday?
this Tuesday. This
That's what I
proposal,
thought.
Yeah.
this is
It's this
this,
Tuesday.
this is from Reagan. This proposal has been submitted to the secretary and will be brought up at the next CEC meeting for for referral to the Rules Committee. My apologies. Rules would be meet and submit a report to the CEC. The amendments would then be needed to be approved 2/3 of the precinct chairs at the next meeting. Okay, never mind. Okay.
So we do have great timing
Yeah.
to do all
Yeah.
this, and we've got plenty of time, but I would like to see a draft, worst case,
Yeah.
by at least Friday, so we know that we're letting the ball roll, we're all taking that right step.
Well, each of us have some hard heads to deal with. Our side does, and your side does.
Well, I'm a hardhead, what do you
Well,
want?
no, I'm talking, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Charlie's no pushover.
The words we use is courageous in his convictions.
Yes, yes, yes.
We're passionate, that's what, we are passionate, come on now.
But we understand our common cause. That's
Yes.
why I have continued to reach out to people who disagreed with me. Have I not always been civil with you, sir?
Oh, you always have. You've never done anything to me directly, unless you.
And I don't do things behind your back either.
No. But anyway, you had a lot of notes. Were there more comments that
Well,
you wanted?
if we were going to be making a case before the, I think we're going to sidestep that one.
But I think if anybody's going to speak next Tuesday to this, it's got to come from y'all's side.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to agree to that.
nobody wants me up there on behalf of Dr. Wally.
Now, I would be
recommending these
happy
proposed
to
changes.
speak in support of it. I think these could definitely be good changes that would help the group as a whole, because as long as I can look at it and say this helps my voters, I'm never going to argue. Logic will always prevail over emotion in this case. Well, yeah.
Well,
I'm normally a nice guy, but it can come out.
And I wouldn't mind you letting people know that we had this meeting. I don't know who knows that we had this meeting.
I've talked to Reagan about being at this meeting.
Okay.
I thought it was
I'm not
very
going to do
important for
anything
everyone to be
behind people's back. It's just not my way to operate.
No.
If you disagree, fine.
I was hoping he would be here.
Yeah, because I would
I
like
don't
to
think
hear
he
his
felt
input.
invited. Anyhow,
Right.
whatever the
I
case.
should have called him and told him I love him.
And, yeah, do we want to get together so we can speak in harmony?
Yeah.
But I do.
I'm available, I just won't be able to be at the meeting
I
Tuesday.
understand, I
And
understand.
I can acknowledge whatever you say, that Dr. Wally has agreed to accept these bylaws as passed in the June CEC meeting, provided they are amended with these changes.
Yeah, and they're not anything that I think is obscene, especially, if you want to appoint, but the CEC can still say we feel that this is the more
I
valid.
can appoint the chairman, but if somebody, you see, disagree,
Yeah.
Well, there's an analogous situation coming up about area chairs, and it's been
And no
talked
one knows
about in
where
the
it's at.
steering committee. Yeah, nobody knows.
No, it's up
In
in
the
the
steering
air.
committee, that the area chair be elected by the precinct chairs in their area. Well, I've been area chair for some time, and I'm totally happy to have the precinct chairs in my area either vote me in or out.
Do you want a day off? Is that it?
Yeah,
You
whichever
won't
way.
have
I'm
very
gonna
many
keep,
people vote.
I'm gonna keep doing my work regardless.
But I like that, though. Let the people in that area say this is the guy we want to represent us, because at the end of the day, it rolls downhill, so to speak. So
Well,
we
and I
gotta
think
be
it gets a
accountable.
buy-in from the precinct chairs, and that's really what you need, is you need the buy-in from the precinct chairs to work.
It's a great
One thing-
communication tool.
One thing I do want to say, I don't think monthly meetings are practical.
Okay, I believe
Nor
the
productive.
latest proposal is bi-monthly,
Yeah, that would be a lot better.
every odd-numbered month.
Or if it was necessary,
even-
we'd call one in the meantime.
Yeah.
Let's see, odd number, that would be in November, and that's always the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they made it,
even.
they made it, yeah, it was even. 'cause
Oh, is it?
it's-
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because that
would
would,
just say
you're right, that would be back as even the city's elections.
Yeah.
That would be
So
ugly.
even would be a better proposal.
Yeah, I believe it is even.
You want to talk about these two items, or?
I wanted to mention headquarters, and I know you two understand headquarters, but
Have you heard any rumors about the headquarters after the next election, the new county chairman moving it to the Woodlands? Have you heard rumors about that?
Someone's moving the headquarters.
that's what I heard.
I don't like that because I have to drive farther now. I refuse.
I like it, it'd be closer to me. No, I don't like it. I think we have a headquarters, and that should be the unified headquarters.
I mean, the Woodlands is nicer, but nicer equates to higher costs and expenses. I don't want to be crude,
that's a side
but
point.
we need to watch our money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. The other thing is, I've been concerned about, and y'all can speak to this, is there any concern or any interest in continuing to work with the Hispanic vote like we've been doing? I know you do,
Yeah,
but
but I mean, who
I did it all the way up
I
to
mean-
my election.
in reality, in a year and a half, this man will no longer be the face of the Republican Party. In his concern is not his legacy, but carrying on
Yes.
projects
Well,
like
you got
the Hispanic.
Karen Darcy, I met with her
I know you
2 days ago,
but I'm
and
concerned.
working together on that, and she's the head of that committee now. And you know I'm dedicated
Oh,
to
I
that.
know
I
you
teach
are.
every Saturday.
But I'm not sure how much dedication there is with Eric Yollick and Reagan. I'm not sure about that.
Who cares about Eric?
Well, because they're going to be running this party a year and a half.
I don't
Well, I mean,
think,
at
I
the
think
end of the
Eric
day,
has
the
given
voters will
more.
decide, but we definitely have to push the Latino vote.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
If you let that die,
Yeah.
fire.
Eric
Everyone's
has
fired.
given more position than he actually has.
Well,
I don't think, Eric is,
He gets the authority you give him. Is that what you're
he has
trying
no
to say?
authority.
well, that's fine. You made me feel
That's what you're
better.
trying to say.
He has his say, which some people listen to, and for which I have corrected.
he should have a
when
say.
He
He's
said
still
some
a voter.
things about Melinda Fredericks lately. I called him to task on it. I said, that's totally inappropriate, the approach you took. I can agree with you on a lot of things, but I can't agree on that tone.
Yeah, and after that SREC vote here with this language that was misrepresented by Reagan Reed, my wife got a hit piece by Yollick. You know,
Yollick
Not real
tends
near and dear
to
to my
heart.
be a very loose wheel at times, and I'll stand by my statement on camera.
Be nice to her.
yeah.
Even though I consider
She's term limited,
Eric
so
a
this
friend.
is her last 2 years, last year and a half.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
always helpful.
I think we've accomplished a lot. Thanks to y'all.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, y'all are the one that made the effort to do this. And,
Well, we should.
Well, we have
It's
a
only
common
right.
cause that we all agree is bigger than you,
Absolutely.
me, any of us.
well, and by number one, by acknowledging that we have a problem. I mean, we do have a problem.
Well, I've talked to people and I said, if you agree with the platform, at least the core points, you don't have to agree with every point, and you agree to support the nominees that are primary elected, because that's the body of the party, is the people who vote in the primaries.
Yep.
You agree to work on those two, then we're on the same side.
Amen.
We can disagree about anything else we want, but we're on the same side.
Okay.
The numbers are there, but
We've accomplished
You
what we
realize-
wanted to accomplish. You have questions, answers?
Yeah.
Questions?
Give him a second.
My good old buddy.
Should we sing Kumbaya first?
you better be careful. You'll be called a traitor.
I want to say a thank you
Yeah, absolutely.
for
Thank you.
pulling us together. It's been helpful. You have helped us reach some points that I think we weren't going to reach
Yes.
from a distance. But sitting down together,
Thank
I think
you.
we made progress, and you facilitated that,
Yes.
and
Y'all
for
have,
which
yes.
we say thank you.
Hey, anytime, brother. Can we say a prayer real quick?
Amen.
Absolutely.
Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to come together today in friendship, in fellowship, to try and get differences put aside in our Republican Party. Thank you for keeping us safe for our travels to this venue, to work together with our fellow man for the good of our community. Be with us as we all go home, and keep us safe in the days and weeks to come, and by your blessing, hopefully there will be fruit coming from this meeting. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Thank you for disputes.
That's it.
Yes.
There you go. Well, I'm proud that we all made it here today. I know we all had a lot going on today, and I know this is a last minute deal, and I appreciate that's how much y'all guys cared, because y'all showed up at the last minute. You know, that we put this together, and I'm proud to see that we're all still
We'll keep
working
you posted.
together. So, yes, sir. Please keep me posted so we can let our supporters, know as well.
Keep us
that-
accountable.
There you go. Exactly.
right.
So, again, I'd like to
Thank
shake
you.
you guys'
You bet.
hands,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
man, thank the world of you guys.
Thank you, sir.
And everything y'all do. I mean, I know you do a lot too in the community. So remember, when I was talking about him, bragging on him, y'all done a lot too in the community. as
we
well.
all do our
Y'all
part.
have. Yes,
We all
y'all
do
have.
our
Appreciate
Y'all
you
have.
guys.
Everybody's got a role.
Oh, hey,
We'll get there.
yeah, we get there.
We'll
All right,
definitely
thank
get
you
there.
guys.
Thank you. You betcha.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great
Thanks
weekend.
for coming, guys.
Thank y'all for all y'all do.
Do y'all?
Yeah, thanks for your
We
input.
appreciate
Do
that.
y'all need us?
Sing water around here.
No, I think we're okay.
I can leave a guy or
What's
two
that?
here.
Alan?
We haven't tried to kill each other.
So, Dr. Wally, what do you feel came out of this meeting today, and how you feel about this meeting now?
Well, I feel great about it. I always felt like we could get things together. There are always on each side a few people who are a little bit harder to deal with, but we got 4 people here that understand the importance of what we did here today. This election that we have in 2020, and I don't think any of you would disagree, this is a turning point of our country, and we've got to get together in this county and do the job that we need to do, and that's vote Republican.
Now that you've had this meeting, what's going to be the next step?
Well, we'll continue working on our bylaws with the agreements that we've had here today, and that's going to take some time and some convincing, as Paul I'm sure agrees. But each side is giving up a little bit, and that's what you do in negotiating, and Nancy Pelosi doesn't understand that.
Amen. Amen.
No Pelosi's here.
No Pelosi here at this table. We're Trump people.
Yes.
Thank y'all for being here.
Mr. Gabolis.
Oh, no, it's you, brother.
You're on, Paul.
Okay.
Mr. Gabolis, how do you feel about this meeting?
Very encouraged. I am a member of the steering committee. I was part of the group that put forth the new bylaws, and there is misunderstanding on both sides, and there is room, as Dr. Wilkerson has said, for us to kind of step back a little bit, focus on our common objective, and I think the agreements we came with today, we can set aside some of the misunderstandings that have occurred and disagreements that have occurred in good faith, and move forward in the very important job we have. Dr. Wilkerson has worked for years reaching out to the Hispanic community. I work teaching citizenship with the Hispanic community, a member of the current community outreach or community engagement committee, and I met just 2-3 days ago at one of the meetings for one of these Hispanic organizations. So these are great people who are great Republicans if we just let them know. And we're going to do that together and continue going.
They're deciding.
So any last remarks you'd like to let the voters of Montgomery County know?
You got 2 people that hadn't spoken.
I thought I was just look pretty. Right?
This meeting was very, very important. Since June of last year, Montgomery County Republican Party has been divided, severely divided, and going down parallel tracks, trying to accomplish the same goal, but not being able to get there because of the severe disagreement over the bylaws. Today was a major, major step in correcting that, get both trains back on one track and heading in the right direction. And I want to thank both of y'all and Dr. Wally and the members of Taylor's organization here to show up and express their opinions and point us in the direction. And we can work with our differences, and I think we come along to a common agreement that the bylaws that were passed last June will be accepted, provided some of these amendments are made to those to give a lot of the authority that are in the state Republican handbook back to Dr. Wally. And after that, I think we can work out with the minor differences after that.
I think as a whole, we've decided to end the government shutdown and build the wall. Yeah, that's what we did today, right? No?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope it's that easy.
Only we're tearing down walls.
Yeah. I think as a party, we need to focus on being unified, not for ourselves. This should go far beyond us. It is about our voters. They put us in place not just to sit here and make decisions greedily about the way we want things to be handled, but ultimately it comes down to what our voters want. The voters put us in our place to represent them at their will, and I think we've got some gentlemen that, even though in the past we've all been sticklers about certain things, I think we can all agree that at this point in time our voters mean more to us than anything else, and our focus has to be on the voters, because 2020 is right around the corner, gentlemen, and I have no doubt that Montgomery County is going to crush.
Crush the Democrats.
Oh yeah, come on now.
We're waiting on the punchline.
The communists too, line them all up, we're getting them all.
Thank y'all for being here.
Yeah, tell me what brought this together. What made you bring this together today, and what you hope to accomplish, and what you think it was accomplished?
Well, I think we accomplished a lot today, and the reason why we brought this all together is because you know, we the people in the community, we had enough, you know, them fighting all the time. These are our leaders. They need to stick together as one. So this is sometimes, you know, we step out of hand and don't realize what we're hurting around us. So that's the reason why I made a call to each one of them, which they agreed to show up. I was really impressed that they're willing to work together with the community and show up today as quick as we managed, you know, ask them to be here. So I'm really impressed with the way they're doing things. And today, since they're sitting here talking about it, and going over the bylaws, which a lot of that has a lot to do with it, as we've been hurting. Like I told them, when y'all fighting, you're hurting us in the community. It's enough for, you know, we the people, you're hurting. You got to sit down and work this out. There's not about the, you know, whose egos is bigger than the other. They're hurting us. So they agreed to sit down and hear us out. That's why I was really impressed. They show up today, and the day before did stand by what they said. So I'm impressed with that. Thank you.
Darryl, what do you think about today? What's your take on this?
Well,
hang on just a second. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we, as Taylor's organization, we try to do quite a bit in the community, and we saw a situation that needed addressing, and we were able to get folks together to come together for the community and to work through the issues that the Republican Party is having. They can't go into another election split like they have been since last year. And I'm really happy to see that these guys are working it out. And I'm hoping that the goodwill that was presented today by all four of these gentlemen will continue through the rest of the Republican Party here in Montgomery County.
And your name first?
Daryl Palmer.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Jody.
Jody, as a precinct chair, how does it feel seeing the two sides starting to come together?
It is a blessing today to see that both sides come together and hopefully resolve the issues that have divided us for so long. To bring these four gentlemen together, to see them work as one, is a day that I'm going to mark on my calendar. The day that I never thought would happen in my reign as a precinct chair or Southeast Area chair. Alan Taylor brought this idea to me, and I said, if you can make it happen, I'll get them in there. I was very happy to see this happen. It's a very good step. The voters have spoken. Alan is one of my constituents in my precinct. He is a businessman. And many voters have spoken out and said this needs to be resolved and it needs to happen. As you know, as everyone knows, voters are the ones that go to the voting boxes and they speak loudly when they cast that vote. I think all precinct chairs need to realize that the voters are the ones that put our butts in those seats, and they will be the ones that vote us out. And they spoke really loud in this 2018 election. And it was a non-presidential election. 2020 is a presidential election, and we need to raise up and do our jobs that we are put there to do, and we need to resolve these issues and work together as one, as a Republican Party united.